I don't want to record this all over again. I don't want to have to record this all over again.
This will be the last time.
Hello and welcome back to Is It Just Us? If you're new here, hi, I'm Emily.
I'm James.
And this is the podcast where we talk about all of those topics where you've been often sat there thinking, is it just me that thinks this way? And we're here to tell you, hopefully not. But this week, it might just be us.
Well, we're both sat here in the midst of a food coma.
And I won't lie, this is our second time recording this episode because for some reason, this episode decided to mess up. So every time we said something, it would double say it.
So we're about to have the same conversation again.
For the second time today.
And this is coming from someone who repeats himself a lot. Like, I will quite happily have the same conversation multiple times in a day. But normally I do leave it more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, we are literally about to have the same conversation that we just had. So sorry if we sound a bit stuff like, it's because we've literally just said all of this.
I'm used to saying the same thing, but I like to leave it a couple of hours. I mean, you get me repeating myself all the time.
Yeah,
especially a couple of weeks back when I had one conversation with you in the evening and then couldn't remember that conversation in the morning due to excess amounts of beer.
Yeah.
And then had to say exactly the same stuff again.
Exactly the same conversation of like, oh, Emily, this is cool, what's this? And then the morning after, oh, Emily, this is cool, what's this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I told you last night.
Because you'd been to an event and got a goodie bag, and apparently I'd been rifling through this goodie bag in the evening, like, oh, this is cool. Wow, what's that? Oh, wow. And then in the morning I was like getting my cup of tea and I was like, oh wow, my head hurts. And saw this bag and I'm like, oh, wow, look at this. This is pretty cool.
As if you'd never seen it before.
To my knowledge, I had not.
But you had.
And that was also when you informed me that I tried to get a cat to follow us home.
Yeah.
Which, again, I have no recollection of.
Yeah, you were very disappointed when it didn't follow us.
I was kind of disappointed hearing the story that it didn't follow us as well. It would have been pretty cool to wake up with a cat in our flat.
Yeah, but I'm allergic to cats.
It would have been pretty cool for me.
Yeah, but it would have been cool for me.
I'm jealous of flat number 1 because they've got that cat that sits in the window.
Yeah, I always forget that.
And it looks like Ashley. Ashley being my cat back at home. Ashley is not just a person who looks like a cat. Ashley is actually a existing cat.
Yeah. She's very cute, bless her.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry if this episode's a bit more like whizzy because kind of just need to get back to the point of what we were saying in the episode we just recorded.
Well, I think it's remarkable how many tangents we can still go off at, even having the same conversation. I mean, some of these tangents are now almost planned because we went off on those tangents the last time we recorded this. But who knows what else could come out of the basement of our minds.
That's very deep.
Yeah, also, I'm kind of went with basement, but I'm thinking that's a bit of a depressing way to put it.
I was going to say the basement. Like,
Yeah.
why basement?
The quality content comes from the basement, guys. Come on.
Okay. Anyway, yesterday we went and did something actually pretty interesting.
Which makes it sound like we never do anything interesting. But we do.
But we do. But
Normally it revolves around free brunch.
let's not throw that word around here. But yesterday, if you've ever been to Melbourne or if you're thinking of coming to Melbourne, you might have heard of a place called the Peninsula Hot Springs. Like the name suggests, they are hot springs on a peninsula.
I mean, but it's a pretty big peninsula.
It is a very big
So
peninsula.
it's the Mornington Peninsula,
yeah,
which is quite large.
it's a big one.
It's like an hour's drive, hour and a bit's drive from Melbourne. So, yeah, it's a reasonable journey. And it's good that we actually managed to go like on the work trip because it's something we kind of thought about wanting to do, but then...
No, I wanted to do it. And when I told you before we came here, you were like, no, I don't want to spend money going to sit in a bath.
Yeah, well, to be fair, if it hadn't been a work trip, we would have had to spend money hiring a car to get out there as well.
Yeah,
and
very true.
that would have been very expensive for, you know,
But
what it was.
thankfully we went with all of our work friends.
Yep, so it was worth it.
It was actually a really good day. And, you know, I don't know if there's anyone sat there thinking, what is a hot spring? But it's basically like a geothermal pool. It's like a natural hot tub.
Yeah, a natural hot tub is a good way of putting it. Although it was kind of confusing when we were there because we weren't really sure how much was just heated up water and how much was like geothermal spa water.
I'm pretty sure like surely all of it must have just been
I think a lot of it probably was.
Otherwise, that defeats the whole purpose.
But then they had such different temperatures.
Probably just different area, like parts of it are different. Yeah. Because it's different, like, positions away.
And they had the showers that had the unfiltered, untreated...
Oh, the eggy showers.
The eggy showers, yeah. Because, I mean, any kind of hot spring spa place, the water is sulphury and it smells like eggs. So I remember we went to the Roman baths in Bath in the UK once, and it had a tap and it said, oh, yeah, here is the unfiltered, pure, natural spring water.
Yeah, and
it had cups so you can drink it. It was like, oh yeah, it's good for you, like minerals. So I drank some and I was like,
gross.
Egg water, yum.
Eggy water.
Yeah. Also, some of our colleagues found it quite funny that there's a place in the UK called Bath.
Yeah, because there was a section at the top of the sort of area, like of the springs, where it showed you where you were in terms of other hot springs.
So it had like it had a map of Australia, I think, or something, but then it just had arrows. Like when you go to any kind of tool vantage point, it has like arrows pointing and says like
how far away you are from something.
Like London, 100 miles or something.
It had Bath because obviously,
which was 17,000 kilometers.
But obviously, if you're from the UK, you know of Bath because you know the Roman baths. But all of our work colleagues were like, "Ha, Bath!" Like as if there's a place called Bath, and me and James were like, "Yeah."
And we said, "Yeah, it's called Bath because there's like a big bath there." And they were just like, yeah, but really, it's like no. That's what it's.
That's why it's called Bath.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because of the Roman baths. But I mean, this whole place was kind of a bit like the Roman baths, but not Roman.
It was modern.
It was like a modern bath.
Yeah, and quite cool. But I can appreciate why the Romans did it, you know?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They knew what they were doing in many ways. It was
just really relaxing. But we didn't just, like, go there to sit in, like, hot pools. We did, obviously, because it's a day spa, you can sort of sign up to do little extra activities. So as a group, we decided to do something called Fire and Ice.
Which sounds like it should be something out of Game of Thrones and should be quite cool.
I was thinking about that when we were doing it. I was like, I feel like they should be playing the Game of Thrones Fire and Ice song.
I would have felt a bit more pumped up if, I don't know, like we'd gone into like the sauna and just heard like do 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 do.
I think they should. We might have to cut that out because of copyright. Stop singing. We don't want this to be copyrighted. But yeah, so to us, none of us really knew what the whole Fire and Ice thing was. It just sounded cool, and to be honest, all the other activities were sold out. So
we ended up going for this one because we couldn't get into the aerial yoga. Yoba. That sounds like some kind of noodles.
I think it is.
What, yoba?
Yoba.
Like yakisoba, but yoba. Oh, maybe yoba is just short for yakisoba.
Maybe. I miss a yakisoba.
I mean, they have Wagamamas here, don't they?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Because I was talking about Wagamamas with someone in the office and they had absolutely no idea what I was talking about.
They have Nando's here. Why don't they have Waggers?
I know. Like, I need my yakisoba fix.
And they like Nando's out here. Like, they say it's pretty good.
I won't lie, I'm not really fussed by Nando's.
You just say it's expensive chicken, which is true.
It's expensive chicken and chips.
And like the peri-salted chips are cool until you see them make them.
Why?
Because they just make chips and then pour some, like, they shake the thing on.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously that's what they did, but when you see them do it, you're like, oh, like, did you have to do that in front of me?
Yeah.
Like, did you have to ruin the magic like that?
Yeah. I'm just not fussed by Nando's. And I know a lot of you out there are probably like, oh, shock horror, but I'm like, it's just expensive chicken.
And it's not as cheeky as we make out, to be fair. I mean, it is slightly cheeky.
I don't even think it's cheeky.
Well, it's quite cheeky.
How is it cheeky?
It's pretty cheeky.
Yeah, but it makes me think of the Cheeky Girls, and it's not as cheeky as the Cheeky Girls.
Yeah, but very few things are quite that cheeky.
Anyway. So I was explaining what the Fire and Ice thing was. So
when I was talking about the different tangents we're going to go off, we didn't go off. This didn't happen in the last one. I think in the last podcast we were a bit more switched on, whereas now we're in that state of delirium that is so familiar to avid listeners of this podcast.
Yeah, it's like a comfort blanket, really.
What, our state of delirium is so next time you're stressed, we're just going to go into delirium so that it will be nice and okay.
No, I mean, that's a weird way of putting it, but as I was saying...
Back to the point.
So the Fire and Ice aspect of it was, as I guess half of the name, as the name suggests, it's a lot of heat and a lot of coldness. So we started out in a sauna while the lady sort of explained what would be happening.
And we got nice and hot.
We got nice and hot.
And very sweaty.
It was a bit gross. So we were in the sauna, and then they plunged us into a pool that was called the cool pool because, you know, it's super cool like that.
Why was it super cool?
Because it's just chilling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Emily's supreme knowledge of things that are cool coming out there.
I'm so tired.
Cool things just chill. Which kind of works because
yeah.
chilled is cold. And is that why? No way. Okay, so we've just had a realization live on the podcast. I don't know if you know if you just heard the sound of realization, but it sounded something like "wah." So chilled things are cool. Oh. Well,
because they're chilled.
I hope you guys are getting this at home because wow, what a moment!
It might just be us.
Is it just us?
It is just us.
This time, yes. Yes, it is.
It's just us. Anyway, back to the point.
For the fifth time.
For the fifth time. So they first plunged us into a cool pool that was 18 degrees. And when you hear 18 degrees, you're probably like, well, that doesn't sound that cold.
It's pretty cold.
But it's actually pretty cold when you're plunged into 18 degrees of water.
It's a shock to the system.
It is. You know, it's a bit chilly. Like, it's chilly. I wouldn't say it's like, oh my word, this is freezing. But you're like, I'm a bit cold here.
Yeah, you're like, meh.
Yeah. And then they brought us back into the sauna to heat us back up in order to then plunge us into a pool of 4 degrees. And there was literal ice in that pool.
Just ice floating around. And before I got in it, this lady comes along with a bucket of ice, tips that in it. And I'm like, was that necessary?
Yeah,
really?
We were the same. And one of the weird things that we were talking about with my parents last night is it was one of those weirdly reassuring yet nerve-wracking moments because there's a medic there.
So you're like, oh yeah, great, there's a medic, so nothing bad can happen. But then you're also like, wait, why is there a medic? Why? Wait, what?
Yeah, so it was one of those weird ones. And I know all of you are probably sat there thinking, why would you sign up to this? To be honest,
was the only thing that was available.
We didn't know what we were signing up to. When we heard about it, we were like, mistakes have been made. And no, this wasn't the only time we got plunged into 4 degrees of water. Once you've then plunged into it the first time after 30 seconds, you then go into the cool pool.
Which suddenly feels very warm.
Which suddenly feels very warm because you're bloomin' freezing. And then you go back into the sauna to be heated back up, to then be chilled back down again.
It's a very stressful process.
It was weirdly stressful.
But that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of the benefits of doing it is that it helps decrease your stress because your body becomes used to the shock of, very, very cold. And if you get used to that kind of thing, then it's like, oh, well, you can deal with anything.
Yeah, but the thing is they also told us that the second time around would be easier than the first time. But I struggled so much more the second time around.
I didn't last as long second time.
No. And while you hear about, 4 degrees, it's actually quite hard to imagine what being plunged into 4 degrees of water is.
It actually feels like you're being stabbed all over your legs.
So, in the UK, when it's one of those really, really, really chilly days and the wind's really cold and your face goes a bit numb, imagine that, but you're wearing very few clothes because you're in a swimming costume. And you're submerged in water. And you feel all of the blood leave your feet. That is what it feels like.
And it's not fun.
No. But then it's oddly invigorating when you've gone over it.
I feel glad that I've done it, but I also don't want to do it ever again.
No. Never again.
Please.
Please.
The rest of the day, we spent most of our time sitting around in hot pools.
Yeah, which was actually very enjoyable.
There was one which was like 40 degrees, and that was nice.
It was lovely.
It felt like it burnt you on the way in, but then you sit there and you're like,
and then,
nice.
The hammams.
Hammam, yeah.
Hammams, I don't know how to say it, but the Turkish steam rooms, they were great. And the saunas, and I wasn't a fan of the eggy showers.
The eggy showers were a bit strange.
They were a bit strange. But in general, it was a lovely experience, apart from the 4 degrees of water. That was not. But anyway.
That's what we did yesterday.
That's what we did yesterday. Oh, no, our food experience.
Yeah, so this weekend, we've had discoveries. Now, if you are a regular listener of this podcast, you may recall that we live taste tested Vegemite versus Marmite. Well, we have found an Australian alternative to a UK favourite that surpasses the UK favourite.
I know. You're probably all sat there gasping like, oh my word, are you kidding? No,
we are
we're
not kidding. The UK favourite is the humble Wotsit.
I love Wotsits.
Although I should say, yeah, Wotsit is misleading because they rarely come in ones. They normally come in,
Multiples.
well, in your case, hundreds. I mean, there was that time that we were coming back from some form of night out and you were just like, I need Wotsits. Bought a family pack of Wotsits and you ate them all on my kitchen floor.
No, that's okay. That sounds like I ate them off of your kitchen floor.
Well, it's not like you lined them up and just went the kitchen floor
So
like a Hoover.
I couldn't find a chair, so I was sat on the floor eating the family packet of Wotsits.
I think you were crying too, but not because you were upset. It's just because it's what you do in that situation. You leak.
Leaking is a very good way of putting it because sometimes I just don't have control over it.
It just happens.
It just happens. You know, I'll be very happy and, you know, there won't be a reason for me to cry and yet I will leak. But again, that's going off topic. So yes, Wotsits. I love Wotsits. I'm a huge, huge advocate for the Wotsit. But then Australia just came on round and introduced the Cheezel.
Oh, the Cheezel.
The Cheezel is brilliant. So imagine if a hula hoop and a Wotsit had a baby.
Which is actually quite possible to imagine the actual mechanics of it.
Now, this is a family-friendly podcast. We're not going to get into the mechanics of how a hula hoop and a Wotsit would have a child. Okay?
It's pretty yeah.
No, yeah, but we're not going to get... No. We're leaving that there.
But the child would look like a Cheezel.
The child would look like a Cheezel, so it's like...
A circular Wotsit.
It's a circular Wotsit.
But it's thicker.
But then you can stick it on your fingers like you can with a hula hoop. And it's great. And it's like, it's thicker.
It's crunchier.
It's crunchier.
It's nicer.
I wouldn't say it's cheesier.
I would say it's less cheesy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that's actually a bad thing.
I mean...
I also got less dust on my fingers.
Yes, true. That's very true. I won't lie, I really want to go and buy some Cheezels now.
Same. I'm regretting the fact that we didn't do that this morning.
I might go and have to find some.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. We need to be careful with this. This is like the golden Kit Kat all over again. We just can't stop.
Yeah, we have golden Kit Kat in the fridge as we speak.
Yeah.
If you don't know what golden Kit Kat is, it's a beautiful thing. It is caramelised white chocolate Kit Kat, and it's fantastic.
Caramelised?
Yes.
It's not just caramel.
No. It's
I thought
caramelised white
when
chocolate.
like, you fry up onions.
No, you can caramelise white chocolate.
Interesting. It is
Because
very
it's not
nice.
caramel white chocolate.
I thought it was a mix.
No, it's caramelised white chocolate.
Ah. But then, yeah, not everything like this is good because we also have some Maltesers in the fridge, which are...
Oh, no, but there was 2 different types of them.
Okay, well, yeah, because there was the honeycomb
Honeycomb.
Maltesers, which are really good. And then
Which I might say are almost better than the original Malteser.
Yeah, could stand by
Because
that.
they were pretty darn good.
But we have Maltesers which are covered in a vanilla milkshake chocolate. And I saw them and I was like, well, we'll go for them, see what it's like. Turns out it's not good.
No, it's pretty disappointing, to be honest.
It's when we first had one, we were like, are these actually... They're not even just not good. Are these possibly, dare I say it, bad?
I'm only really eating them because it's chocolate.
Yes, and if you focus on the fact that it's chocolate, it does taste like chocolate. But when I first put one in my mouth, I was like, this is not what I was expecting.
No, because when I read that it was vanilla milkshake flavoured, I was expecting the malt to taste vanilla-y, if you know what I mean.
Kind of.
Not the chocolate.
I had no expectations, but whatever expectation I did have, although I didn't have any. I had some expectations, none of which I can put my finger on, but whatever expectations I did have were thwarted.
Yeah, which is pretty sad.
It is very sad. But the Cheezel,
The Cheezel was fantastic.
like, fair play to you, Australia. Congratulations on this achievement.
I have to admit, I wish I had a Wotsit with me so I could compare, like, directly compare the
You don't
Wotsit
need
and the
to be
Cheezel.
honest. I can say it right here, right now, without doing any kind of taste testing. The Cheezel is superior. We need to bring them back to the UK.
People need to know about the Cheezel.
What else was I going to bring back to the UK?
The Kit Kat.
No, it wasn't just the Kit Kat.
There's something else?
There was something else I was going to bring back to the UK, and I just can't remember what. Well, we want to bring back some of the jazzy brunches.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Because I think after living in Australia,
Melbourne in particular.
Melbourne in particular, because Melbourne's known for it, but the brunches here are just amazing. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have already seen what I mean, but English brunches need to pick up the game.
Yeah. Agreed. There's just something else.
They're just like, not only do they have the classic, pancakes or French toast or the fry up, but there's so many interesting things.
They do very cool things with it.
They really do. You could have a miso bowl. Or,
I had a sushi bowl for brunch.
Yeah, you had a sushi bowl the other day.
That was delicious.
I'm actually really sad we haven't had brunch this weekend.
Same.
Oh.
We're having it next weekend.
Are we?
Don't know.
We need to book that.
How do we get here?
This
is a problem when you record 2 podcasts and they're the same thing twice in a row. You're just like,
Oh, our other food experience today.
Of course, the reason we're in a food coma.
So.
I found this weird recipe on Instagram.
No, wait. I feel like it needs to be more of a...
Build up?
More of a backstory. I wouldn't say build up, but more of a backstory.
Okay, cool. I was on Instagram flicking through and I found this weird recipe.
That's not quite what I meant. So, what I meant is, at uni, we started making these things called mug cakes. And they're great for students because it's a super cheap way to just make a cake. A single cake.
Very quickly.
But every time we've made them, they have not turned out well.
So we're talking too wet, too gooey, exploded.
Or they have the texture of a temper mattress, or...
Which I find, when did you ever eat a temper mattress?
No, but do you not know what I mean? Like, it's weirdly, dense,
when you buy
foamy.
mattresses, you go around just going like,
No, but do you not know what I mean? In the sense, it's weirdly foamy, but dense at the same time.
Yes. I'm not very convincing of that. I have no idea what you mean.
Okay.
The temper mattresses the ones made out of memory foam?
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it's weirdly dense but squidgy.
Okay, yes.
But it's...
Holds its shape.
It holds its shape, but it's just not a nice texture. It's weird.
That was our mug cake.
These were our mug cakes.
So I found a recipe for...
People don't know what you mean when you say that.
I found a recipe which was for... You know what? Saying recipe does actually make sense because do you remember that conversation we had? So we're in a very multicultural company. Like there's people from like every country going.
Yeah.
But I say that it's not every country because we haven't got that many people working
in the
there.
management team, there's us. So obviously we're English or like from the UK. We've then got someone from Brazil. We've then got someone from the Middle East. We've then got someone from Australia and then someone from France.
So we were arguing about the word data.
Oh, data. And vitamin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, vitamin is... Yeah. We'll go with data as the example, though. Because we pronounce it data. And what is it the Australians say? Data.
Data, yeah.
Data. Which kind of...
Data.
It doesn't really make sense to us because we say data. And the argument was... So the French person amongst us said that they were the only ones that pronounce it in a sensible way because they're consistent. It's like data. Because it's like... It's the same A sound. And... They said that really, if we call it data, if we want to be consistent with our A sound, we should be calling it data.
Data.
But I think everyone can agree that data is not the right way to pronounce it. Because data does sound very, very, very strange.
So now every time I hear her say it, I just think of data.
Data. Oh, let me just look at my data. And this lends absolutely no support for me pronouncing recipe. But it does make sense if you just read it. English is one of those languages where, like, have you ever seen The Thing where the guy spelt potato, but he did it like phonetically? So he just got the sounds like p, p or t, from different words.
Yeah.
That have the same sound but with different letters. So it starts with like a GH because there's like some word out there somewhere where the GH makes a p sound.
What?
I know, yeah. So it was spelt like it's really long. It's like 17 letters long or something. And it's spelt in a way that you would think that doesn't say anything. But if you say it in the right way, it says potato.
That's weird.
Yeah. So back to the recipe. So yeah, I found it on Instagram. And it just said, here's the best cookie, like mug bowl cookie microwave recipe thing that you can find. And I looked at the comments and they were like, this is amazing, it works. So it's pretty much you get a tablespoon of butter, melt it in a microwave. You get 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 white, 1 brown for best results. 3 drops of vanilla essence.
But we didn't have any of that.
We didn't have any of that. And then 4 tablespoons of flour. Give it a stir, pour in some chocolate chips, put it in the microwave for a minute.
Or 2. And it is actually quite magical.
It's very magical. The first one didn't have enough flour.
But it ended up being a bit like a shortbread, and I'm not mad about that.
I was okay with it.
It was pretty good.
Second one, more flour, so more cookie-like, but because it had more flour, it didn't have the right ratio of sugar to flour, so it wasn't quite sweet enough.
Yeah.
But it was nice.
It was good. They were good. They were good.
But they actually make quite a lot. I mean, one would have been enough for the two of us, and we had one each.
Yeah.
And that's why we were in food comas. Although it's been so long now since we recorded the first version of this podcast that the food coma has somewhat subsided.
I'm fine now.
I'm fine now. I'm just thinking about my next cup of tea, which, to be honest, is my default state of being.
That's your everyday state.
Yeah, I'm always looking to my next cup of tea.
Yeah.
You can actually tell time in terms of cups of tea.
Really?
If you're consistent enough with when you have them, you can. You can go, what time is it? Oh, about 10 minutes to my fourth.
That's a new one.
Yeah. All that means is it's, getting on towards 10 o'clock in the morning.
I feel like a lot of Brits could
relate to that,
yeah.
Indeed, I think so. We're a tea drinking nation.
We are. It's like our national drink.
Anyway, yeah, so that was the cookie recipe, which is really, really good. Doesn't have anything to do with Australia, but if you are a fan of food like we are, we talk about food all the time.
That's basically mainly what we talk about.
Yeah, like people have said to us, like, oh wow, you guys are pretty, like, you're good foodies, aren't you? And we're like, yeah, yes, we are. Food. It's what we do. So yeah, if people like food, that mug cookie bowl cookie recipe thing is good. Give it a go, because we've made cookies so many times in the past and it's been rubbish.
Apart from that one time.
Yeah, you nailed it once and then you even wrote down how you did it and you still couldn't do it again.
I didn't know what happened.
I've made so many disappointing cookies.
Yes.
And it's annoying for me because I actually have a severe cookie addiction.
Yeah.
I struggle. I spent most of my time at uni eating more Sainsbury's cookies than is advisable or healthy.
Yeah, it was
a problem.
It was on the verge of worrying.
Yeah, it wasn't really managed very well. It wasn't managed at all.
No, I was gonna say, especially when you were stressed, it was not much.
No, because then it would be a cookie in the day and a cookie in the evening, and that's 2 cookies, and that's not good because that's twice as many as what I was having when it was just 1 cookie, and that's still arguably more cookies than I should have been having.
And it was every day.
It was every day, without fail.
It wasn't even like once or twice a week. It was every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sainsbury's cookies are seriously good, man, though. Like, oh my god.
The chocolate chip cookies.
No, any of them. Even the oatmeal cookies were good.
I'm not an oatmeal cookie fan.
That's fine, you don't have to be, but boy, they were good.
Because it's the raisin.
Oh yeah, you don't like raisins because they make you think of old people.
Yeah. I don't like it when they're crunchy in the middle.
Yeah, see, I can go for any kind of cookie. I'm not really that fussy about cookies.
No, as in the raisin. I don't like it when the raisin's crunchy in the middle.
Oh.
I don't mind a cookie being crunchy. It's just
normally they're gooey in the middle, but I can go for any kind of cookie.
Yeah.
Even a crispy one, although then it's borderlining biscuit. That said, I do quite like a biscuit as well.
I do love a biscuit.
Yeah. Wow, I've seriously lost track of this one. I think everyone had a vice at uni, or even just in general life. Like everyone had a thing that they were quite, Like one of my flatmates was obsessed with tahini. I've never seen someone get through so many jars of tahini.
Actually.
It was actually like incredible. And nutritional yeast.
No, but I understand that one though. Because
sheer amount.
Yeah, but so she was vegan. So nutritional yeast has a cheesy flavour.
Shout out to our vegan friend here.
Whoop whoop, that'd be power. But considering how much I love cheese, if I was vegan, I would stick nutritional yeast on everything. To be honest, I'm considering buying nutritional yeast just to make everything more cheesy.
Yeah, but what was your vice at uni?
What was mine?
Or did you not have one thing?
I think it was just sweet things in general.
Yeah.
Because I love, I have a sweet tooth, so I love cake, I love pudding, I love cookies. I just like it all.
My other flatmates was pasta, which will probably kill me for saying. But it was quite a good joke in the flat. It was just like, oh, pasta again. Oh, more pasta. We can't really talk about that though because we eat a lot of pasta at the moment. We're getting the mickey taken out of us at work because every lunch is pesto pasta.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to make. You can bulk cook for the week.
I've broken the chain this week because I've decided that I will eat something different.
I'm not. I'm going to stick with pesto pasta.
I can't eat pesto pasta for like a month.
I'm going to be eating pesto pasta for the next 4 months at least. Probably every day.
I just find I don't think my digestive system would appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just so easy, and I need to eat a lot of food. The reason I need to eat a lot of food does link into what this podcast was meant to be about. So when we recorded the first version of this,
it was supposed to be about fitness, but considering we're now almost 35 minutes into recording this podcast,
we think we're going to save that for next week.
We're going to save that for next week.
Instead, what you've had is this is actually probably the first podcast we've done where we actually didn't have a topic and all we've done is just ramble. If we have a topic at all, it's going to be food.
It's going to be, We've introduced cheesels.
Yeah, that is a gift. And the cookie recipe.
Yeah, you are welcome.
So to all of our listeners, there you go. Like, that is the topic. You don't need anything else. Although, now we've introduced those two things for you. Next week, when we bring up fitness, you're going to be grateful because in a week, you'll have put on that much weight from eating cheesels and cookies.
Or they might just be sensible human beings.
No.
Okay.
I can't understand anyone who doesn't have a cookie addiction.
I don't.
Okay, I understand some people. I had two roads there. Which one do I go down? Do I understand you or not?
But anyway, we might wrap up this episode here because, like I said, this is a very long podcast about not much.
It's very rambly.
But
they're rambly at the best of times.
With that being said, if you do try out the cookie mug bowl recipe.
Recipe? What's a recipe? At least I actually pronounce it how it's spelled.
I'm so tired. But if you
That's
try
just
out...
making up words now. And I don't make up words. I just pronounce them in different ways.
Do you mind?
No. Or do I? No, I don't. Sorry.
If you try the recipe, can you take a photo for us and just tag us on like Instagram stories or something? We'd actually love to know if you give it a try and let us know what you think. Do you like it a bit more shortbready or do you like it a bit more cookie?
Yeah.
Tell us. And obviously, if you do find cheesels, let us know. Or if you tried both with the Wotsit and the cheesel, tell us which one you prefer.
Yeah, those who have, straddled the gap between the UK and Australia and have dipped their toe into the world of both cheesels and Wotsits. Although if you dip your toe into the world of cheesels, there's a high chance you'll bring your toe out and there'll be a cheesel wrapped around it.
Most likely.
But where was I going with that? Tell us which one you prefer.
Yes. And as always, we would love for you to rate and review this podcast if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. We do read all of the reviews and we love reading them. And also thank you for all of the 5-star reviews.
We appreciate that.
Really appreciate it. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube, we would love for you to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
And tell us some things that you want us to talk about as well. Like we want to react to some feedback, If there's a topic you want covered, something you think, is this just me? Ask us. And if we cover it, then it probably isn't just you.
Exactly. So please, please, please do message us. Also, thank you so much for all of the new listeners because for some reason there's been quite a few newbies. So hi and welcome. If you would love...
And did we mention how much we love the city of Detroit?
Thank you, Detroit. We see you. We love you.
We appreciate hard.
We do. But if you're new here, if you're not new here and you don't follow us on Instagram or Twitter, we would love for you to join. So you can follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at isitjustUsPod. Or you can follow me on Instagram at that's_just_Emily.
I feel like people who are new here, this is not the one to start with.
No.
This would be like, I don't know, diving into David Bowie at Station to Station. No, don't do that. Start with Hunky Dory. Go listen to Life on Mars and stuff. There's no point coming into the weird stuff quite yet. So, go back to episode 1.
Where can they follow you?
They can follow me at that's Justice James _98.
There we go. But I mean,
cuts me off before goes on ramble about Bowie.
Yeah, pretty much.
That would be a podcast in itself. Things like Geek Out About Part 2.
Yeah, which hold out for because that's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. So we will have Simon back on here and we will be rambling about all those things we geek out about. So you can
Of which there are many.
There are many. So you can, let us know what you geek out about or what you'd love to hear us geek out about. And we will catch you guys next week.